another episode of Amasec N Archaeotech with me, Mitch.
And myself, Ched. Hello, everyone. Thank you to all the new followers we have received over the last week. We are nearly at 3K subs on YouTube and 600 likes on TikTok, which I created. What other socials do we have, Midge?
We have Instagram. I'm relatively well informed on, and do we have Threads?
Yes, we have Threads, we have a Blue Sky, we have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. If you are users of any of those, please, I don't know, post what you're painting, post what you're building. We'd love to see what everyone in our new little community bubble is up to.
Yeah, it has been a wild few days, hours. Yeah, thanks again to everyone who's followed us. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the content as we begin to grow it and expand it together. So yeah, thanks. So welcome.
Yeah, it really means a lot. So, speaking of what people are up to, Mitch, what have you been up to? What have you hobbied?
I have been doing 12 phalanx for my Dark Mechanicum.
Lovely.
I know Cheb was kind enough to post a little video of my Dark Mechanicum HQ choices that I've been working on building, but I've also started, finally, Ched, finally painting, which I think is actually the first time,
Goodness.
outside of a little test model of some colours, this is the actual first unit I have painted in 2025. This could be.
Oh, goodness.
I think it might be.
Oh, no, that would drive me mental.
I think it might be because everything else is. Yeah, because when was the last Heresy event we did? That was November.
Oh, yeah. So was that painting your tanks for it?
Yeah, that was painting tanks and then the infantry and then being.
Oh, yeah, it's solar. So, and then
Yeah,
the Mechanicum stuff came out. Then you got that, and then yeah, you've just been building. My goodness,
yeah.
hard at work at the forge. Now you get to put some paint on things.
Yes, exactly. So, yes, been painting those up. I'm. What am I up to now? I've done my base coats. I have got to do so. All the armor's done on them. Well, done as in the base colors all sprayed on there,
Yep.
and then I've got to add, do some pin washing, and then I've got to figure out what I'm doing for the skeletons, the metals. So I've gone armor first, then painting skeleton over the top, rather
Okay.
than because they're kind of a candy green, which you'll see.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe you've done candy green on something before me.
Beat to the punch, mate. You can't have it all green. I figured I've got to try and take some green from you. Feel free to go blue and green there. Go,
Yes.
yeah, take as much as I give off, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing. But I don't really know what I'm kind of in between what skeleton color to go for. Like having a look at what Henry's done on Cult of Paint, which I would highly recommend to anybody who would love to follow some general painting videos. Great direction and just a very calming voice as Henry got. So
Mm,
mainly because they're either going more brown in my metals, and I want them to be a bit rusted. They're trying to be for my vamp based sort of necrotech army,
yeah.
so they're going to be a bit maybe a bit more rusted up and busted up, which wasn't my initial intention, but that's kind of where I want to head.
Cool.
Well, I mean, I say that, but I mean, who the hell bloody knows now with what's going on? I mean, completely. That's all. Might as well just throw it in the bin fire. Burn it all.
Well, I'm sure it's not going to change that much.
Well, yeah,
Clip that up and see what happens later. But yeah,
yeah. So that's me, mate. That's basically me.
cool.
How about yourself?
I have been painting a Krieg engineer. I got him as the free mini of the month. I think last month. I haven't been in this month to get the free mini, but I've kind of gone for a. Well, I'll send you an image to put up as we speak. But I've gone for a sort of a little Steel Legion inspired scheme. I've always really liked Steel Legion, so I went for the sort of the sandy khaki color for the great coat, and then a nice dark green on the inside,
Ooh,
which I think has come out quite well. And then Rhinox hide on the leathery bit so far, and then some coal black armor for Monument, and then I'm just going to highlight that with a bit of metal,
nice.
kind of so it's sort of more scuffed up.
Mm.
And he was just a bit of a palette cleanser, really. But yeah, like you, not knowing what's coming with the rules, I'm a bit hesitant to get in painting, but I do need to finish my Despoiler squad, so I'll have to get back on that next.
I think you'll be fine with a Despoiler squad, mate. To be honest,
I think so, yeah.
anything that's like just a load of guys that isn't too specialist, I think you can go to town with. It's just
Yeah. As long as they've still got power axes in the squad, then I'll be happy.
well, I mean, we'll talk about the reveal when we talk about the reveal,
Mm,
which is very soon, listeners.
yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I absolutely think it'd be fine. So,
Yeah.
how was to get back to the engineer? How was he to put together? Because obviously, I've never. You got you
Oh,
did have the
yeah.
kill
So
team one as
you have
well,
to
didn't
build it in
you? How was he?
store,
Right. Yeah.
but it's fairly easy. There's not many instructions. There's probably about as many instructions as there are parts, and there's probably only about 7 or 8 parts. It's not many. But yeah, no, he was fine.
And painting wise, like he's not.
No, no, not too tricky at all. He's got like a big thing on his back, like a welding kit on his back, and yeah, a big sort of mace in his hand and a little grenade. But they're all quite modular. Yeah.
How does he? Have you had to look at him compared to your solo auxilia scale wise?
Oh no, I haven't put them side by side. I think they're about the same scale, but I know like some 40k stuff is ever so slightly bigger, but it feels the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it'll be. I mean, you could even use him.
Well, remember that time we had militia as a thing? Well, there you go. That was what I was kind of thinking for them, but we'll see what happens now.
Yes, true. True. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Right. Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. So it's engineer, and then the spoilers are your next. And
Yes.
your spoilers are for your Thousand Suns or your Salamanders. Who are they for?
Oh, for the salamanders, yes,
Okay.
because they were the inductee, which is why I wanted to paint them. But
Oh.
now inductee rules won't be a thing for a little while. So there's another. I mean, funnily enough, in the last game I did use them. I didn't get to run them as inductees, so I still haven't. It's just one of those things, I guess.
Yes.
Maybe they'll have something baked in the new rule book, but who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, we've been hinting at it long enough. I think we need to get into it. We'll start by first telling the people our predictions. As you know, there was a lot of speculation going around. So, what was your top prediction that you were semi expecting from that reveal?
Okay, so as a precursor to someone who maybe has no idea what we're talking about, last Friday, the 24th of May,
No, it was the 23rd.
23rd. Wow, we're good. In the warp, mate, it doesn't mean anything anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, there was a big reveal for what has turned out to be Heresy 3.0.
Mm,
So, I foolishly predicted, when speaking to Ched, just shooting the proverbial,
yeah, as we do.
I said that number one, I in a way wished it was just absolutely nothing and a big old troll because of the hearsay stuff, and it was all just there's nothing here. Here's another model. Lovely stuff.
Mm,
Everyone can just get back to their business. For a big company, you wouldn't be spending any of your marketing budget on nothing. So that was not going to be doing anything on that one.
mhm.
But I was hoping perhaps it would be like a big errata slash like a compendium book of all the rules that have happened so far. So it's kind of like a 0.5 or at least sort of a resting stop to get all the rules together before maybe in a year or so, 2 years time, then there's a new release or something. So just kind of a tidy up because we've got like 5 or 6 books, maybe is it 5 or 6, maybe 3 or 4 books, plus like the different Libras, plus the FAQs, plus erratas, plus other PDFs. And I was hoping they were just going to put it all into one big book that you could get, or even 2 books, and then it could all be in one place. But that was not to be.
No, no, it was not. I was thinking that because of the tokens, it was going to be a self contained game
Mm-hmm.
that was heresy adjacent and wasn't going to be part of the main thing. It was going to be a little sort of Battle of Istavan 5 box or something.
Yep.
And maybe with the possibility of using those Saturnine as in the main force, just on the side. But yes, we were both quite wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, they do have some history of doing that because there was the
Mm.
what was it? Was
Well, the Battle of Calth
Battle
was.
of Calth, that was it. Yeah. Obviously, everyone just raided it for the miniatures, but it was
Mhm.
its own board game type. Yeah, I think that was a fair enough prediction. Probably more closer to the odds than mine.
But yeah, what we got was actually way more than I thought they were going to show off. So that was something. Like it was a full hour-long show, if not a little bit longer, of things, which was really some cool stuff in there. Speaking of, what was your favourite, and what do you think actually needs to get in the bin?
So here's the controversial take. The Fellblade was my favorite, and I don't really care for any of the Saturnine stuff. So there you go. I just want a big tank, and then the rest of it is kind of odd looking to me. But hey, if you love it, you love it. That's your brand of Marmite. You lick away.
I
That's your business.
have to say I'm a Bovril man myself, but yeah.
So, or Vegemite for those out there. Yeah, those are my two hot takes. I think, as you said, I think I was very surprised at how much they did show. I think that's quite an interesting, if anything, quite a refreshing take from them. I know they said not to bother the social media team, so take it both ways. Either that's very much working if you do bother the social media team, or that's that's not bother them because they're giving us some stuff to actually talk about and yeah, reveal. So yeah, so we didn't just get the box, did we? We got the box. We got the Fellhound.
Well, that was said that was coming, but it was the box is coming, the books are coming. Um, Tarantulas were shown
No,
off,
not
were they?
there.
No, rapiers were. Oh, it's hard to say my favorite, but I think I was most excited about the Fellblade as soon as they showed it off in the animated
Yeah,
trailer, seeing a Fellblade and then the glaive just behind it. So ever closer to that glaive that I've always wanted. Because the Saturnine stuff got leaked, I wasn't as excited for that when they played the trailer, so I think that kind of overtook. But I do like the Saturnine stuff. But yeah, I think I have to agree with you. A Fellblade is going to be pretty sweet to have.
yeah, and just like you, mate, it's not even the Fellblade itself. It's the glaive to come.
Yeah,
That's the most like that's always been I think a collective favorite tank just to look
yeah.
at aesthetically. So very much looking forward to that. Um, yeah, I'm also hopeful then if they're doing that maybe they'll do other super heavies from
Oh
different
yeah.
with like different chassis.
If they're able to do those in plastic, then the sky's kind of the limit, right?
Yeah,
Really. So you never know. We'll get flies in plastic one day.
yeah. Well, who knows? Well, again, that kind of plays into what I think. Yeah, so that's kind of my hope for new models wise is that side of things. So you're saying it's the Saturnine for you is your least favorite. Is that a get in the bin though?
No, 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 not that. I would say get in the bin to that big turret thing. I
Yeah,
don't
fair
I
enough.
don't see that being used a lot unless it was a more narrative defense game. I mean, it'll probably be good, but it's a tank that stands still and it's probably not as strong as a tank, right? So would you not rather have a tank that can
Yeah,
move?
yeah, no, absolutely, mate. I feel like out of all of them, when you compare it to the old box, this feels more like filler.
Mm,
And I don't mean that in a too much of a detrimental way either, because it's a brand new kit and it is big, and who knows, the rules for it might be fan dabby dozy
yeah.
to the point where it makes fortifications useful, and to that I'd be excited for just something
Mm,
different because we've
yeah,
never really
yeah,
seen
fair.
them be used. But as an actual kit, I see it being used for some cool looking conversions where there's guns and sort of a turret or something, but I can't. Like you put it on a chassis or something, it looks like a pretty sweet anti-aircraft, vehicle or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. So one hope for the new rules, like I assume you've seen some of the new snippets of rules. What is your give me a hope and give me a fear from that?
I hope that the way they've done the rules with the changes to like initiative and when that happens,
Yeah.
that it is a consistency across the special
Because it's
rules.
looking like they've got a lot of weapon rules baked into the profile,
Yeah,
kind of instead of all the unwieldy and
yeah.
the stuff like that. That's kind of going to be baked into the profile of the weapon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you compare, as you say, I'll put both of them up for viewers to see, but you can see the difference between them. Yeah, there is far more baked into that profile than there has been so far,
Yeah.
because usually you'd get some information and then you'd get a special rule, and then you have to go look up that special rule. So I'm hoping a reduction in special rules because it's built into the profile, and also if there is a special rule, that it's a universal, consistent special rule, and
Mm,
not a this is the I don't know, solo auxilia version and this is the night version, and it's all called something slightly different but basically the same thing. Like if it's,
yeah.
I mean, for thematic reasons, it's quite cool and it seems
Yeah.
great. But on a game to game basis, if it just means you can go one initiative higher, then that's just call it that rule, even if it's called like a Space Marine hand, and then everyone's got a Space Marine hand, even if it's not actually. Obviously, why would you have it?
Yeah.
But at least then everyone knows, okay, that's what that is, rather than, oh no, mine's actually called, an Imperial Guard hand, or
Yeah.
a Mechanicum foot. And then cool, but what but what does it do the same thing?
Just a
Yes.
space marine wielding a Major's leg about.
Yeah,
Ah!
exactly. So yeah, that's my hope.
Okay. And a fear?
I'm kind of, well, I'm gonna have to kind of go into two. It's almost a contradiction to what I said before. I have a fear of the damage, the add of damage to the profile,
Oh, okay.
because I don't know what that means.
Oh, I see. I guess that's how many wounds it's going to do, right?
Yes, yeah, it will do, but like, how does that work in the game as we
I
understand it
see. Yeah.
now? Because I think that's definitely well, I don't know, but I can't remember. Was that a ninth edition?
Oh, so things like having the damage splash and stuff like
Well,
this.
no, as in just generally, how does damage going to be applied to things like vehicles? And because there is no damage characteristic on any weapon, it just either wounds you and then
Mm,
you lose the wound, or you're double dead because of the
yeah.
instant death threshold. Is instant death even a thing? Yeah, there's that kind of those
Mm.
kind of
It probably
probably is.
is.
Yeah. I'd hope so. For some really heavy stuff,
But
but
yeah, who knows?
and then the other part of that is just more stats on things. So now we've got more. We've
Yeah.
got those like fear and cool, and I'm a
Yeah.
bit like, the one thing this game doesn't need is more rules to learn. I just don't need 50.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate if you're shifting them, maybe you're simplifying one ways and making the data slates easier. But when you've got those kind of things, I'm just a bit concerned that,
It might be a kind of a few more rules here in that way, but there are less elsewhere because things like the weapon profiles have changed in that. So it may sort of like be the same amount, but they've just shifted it around. So it might be streamlined. I think that leads into my kind of hope for it is that those new stats are kind of make it way more narrative. And when you are, because they said about challenges being more of a thing
yeah,
now. So I'm hoping that those stats actually do, because I think they have them in Necromunda, right? So
yeah, I think they've got
it's
something
going to
similar.
be
Yeah.
far more thematic and narrative, and like the games where your heroes are fighting each other will be like more crucial and more like something to get even more excited about, which I think is pretty cool. It could be great.
Yeah, I can definitely see that part of it for sure. I think, yeah, until we get a little example of what profiles and how they work. What my fear with it though is that it's all kind of doing the same thing. Like, oh, you've got a cool statistic of 7, but you've got I don't know, an initiative level or a run level. I can't remember what the stats are, but we'll get them up. So that basically it just all equals 0 anyway. But it's just that you like, it's a bit more rock paper scissors, and that might be cool. That might be really cool in that, so much as, you go.
Could be more streamlined, yeah.
Yeah, you could go and face this marine, and if you use these type of skills or these weapons against it, you're gonna absolutely flatten them. However, if you were to use these weapons against it, nothing's really gonna affect it,
Yeah,
and you need to then be a bit more strategic in how you're going to place things, because one unit that's really crap for 80% of the time, actually against this one unit is like 100, is like really really good against this one specific unit, because
yeah,
it's got a certain stat and a certain thing. I think they talked about thralls in that regard on the TV, on the
yeah.
reveal. So Yeah, that's cool. It's a lot
It
of
will be interesting.
headspace for when you're playing a game in a campaign or in a tournament. That's my probably in a nutshell.
Yeah,
That's my concern
yeah.
is how much head energy it's going to take.
Well, moving on a bit, you've put on our questions. When are you going to, or will you sell your old books? And yeah, that's certainly a big kind of bone of contention there, and a bit disappointing. So yeah, I don't know. Will they just go straight in the recycling? I'd like to think not. I'd like to think there's some room to adapt maybe some of the missions in the campaigns and use some of the campaign rules. But yeah, that is a bit of a bummer there, and kind of makes me think that maybe I'm not going to invest in all the books moving forward because, well, is this just going to happen again in 3 years? You know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm for me. I'm kind of considering whether to just go digital.
Yeah, there is that, isn't there? Because you can search a PDF, can't you? You can Control F and find what you need.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just a space thing.
Yeah,
Do I need to go through the cycle of if we are selling them or throwing them every single 3 years?
yeah.
We don't.
Do I just get a little tablet and just
Yeah,
get it up on there?
yeah. Overall, is it cheaper? Who knows? I mean, you probably could get
Yeah,
them. It's, it's half a dozen of one.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's a shame, but I think it's really considerate that they are releasing pretty much all the army books
Yeah,
in one go.
yeah,
There's not going to be any talons. The PDF armies are still going to be probably coming around again later, but we're going to have the Mechanicum, the Solar, the Knights as its own book, and then the Astartes ones, all separate and all available at launch. So we're everyone's kind of armies that they've spent a lot of time building up over the last edition can pretty much jump straight in, which is cool.
yeah. No, that is cool. It means I'm spending a hell of a lot of money on the books because I have every one of those armies. I will probably not. I will probably buy one of them, and
Yeah,
probably
I think
will.
I'll just get the loyalist one for my salamanders straight away and get comfortable playing them to the new standard, and then which is a shame because I've got that Mechanicum detachment I want to play and the solar,
Yeah,
but I'll get used to Marines first and go from
I
there.
think that's probably a smart way of doing it. To be honest,
Yeah,
I would. I was thinking maybe knights because they have that's still the highest point level I have, but still,
yeah,
until I know what that even looks like, the chance of people even wanting to for me to be able to field knights becomes still a problem if you're not just playing a normal
mm.
local game. So
I mean, they could be so much more balanced now, and people are less scared of them, so you get to include them more. But yeah, you don't want to be in the same situation you're kind of in now, where we do see at events people say no knights, and you have to adjust your list.
yeah, and that's a fear from one because as they are
Yeah.
now, they are completely not in the top tier of anything. They are very
Mm.
easy to counter, especially now
Yeah.
that the current meta, well, no longer, but in what's left of the meta, a 10-man las
Yeah.
cannon squad is everywhere. So
Yeah.
that's a bad day for a knight anywhere you are. So
Yeah. Okay. All right then. Well, on to our last little segment of the episode. We're going to talk about what law we've been engaging in with recently. So I myself had I couldn't actually sleep that well last night, and I sleep with audiobooks on. And a short story, "The Iron Within" by Rob Sanders came on, and I managed to listen to most of it without falling asleep. But I thought that was a very interesting story I'd not heard yet about some loyalist Iron Warriors that defend this keep from traitor Iron Warriors that have come to sort of recruit them to Horus, and the captain who's really injured says, oh, I'm not doing that, and then it's kind of the story about him defending the keep, and he's got this Ultramarine that's with him that's a champion. I thought it was really well written and read by Jonathan Keeble, if I remember rightly. So
nice.
we had that, and yeah, it was just a really good story. And at the end, he pulls like this bit of a twist and manages to really turn the tables, and I won't give much away, but yeah, I recommend that as a listen or a read.
Is that the one where it's kind of underground? It's some like fortress underground.
Yeah, kind of. They're in the keep. There's several layers to it, and it does go underground a bit.
Is there a dreadnought?
Yes, there is a dreadnought.
Okay, yes, I have listened to that.
Okay.
Yes, it was in one of the.
It is in Age of Darkness, which is a collection of short
Yeah,
stories.
yeah. No, that is a good one. It was nice to see Iron Hands, as you say, the
Warriors.
Iron Warrior, sorry, the more noble side of them, and sort of their stubborn / commitment to something and being given
Yeah.
orders, and actually, the first order was the order I was given. So suddenly, any other orders coming that you think you should tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And those grudges, because I know you see more of that in the Siege of Terror a bit, but the captains kind of were a bit like, I don't know, almost jockeying for power and sort of their own position. So
Yeah, definitely.
so a good one.
Yeah, nice one. What about yourself, mate?
And the last thing I listened to was Outcast Dead, and that was by Graham McNeil. It's an interesting one in so much as it doesn't really follow any of the main events. A bit like yours with the Iron Within, I imagine, which is
Yeah, a bit of a side
bit
story.
of a side story, but definitely an interesting one. It follows the Astronomicon. Nope, the Astropathica. But there's an astropath basically, and you kind of get
Right, yeah.
you get some insight into what it's like for them to be on Terra, and some of the more chilling sort of parts of being an astropath. And it sounds pretty horrendous, to be fair, across the board. But yeah, it was cool. I've near the end of it now. I would have to say my only criticism with it is that there's a group of Marines who were there sort of as a crusade guard or a representatives on Terra from the different almost ambassadors, I guess, from all the different legions, and obviously the ones who have turned traitor at this time, which I believe on the way to Istavan, and obviously the fleet who have yet to be revealed as turned traitor are all good, but those who have known to be traitor are kind of ostracized. And unfortunately, because I think it's so early on in the heresy, they're still very much stereotypical versions of their legion.
Okay, a bit cliche.
Yes, and that's probably the one that's my biggest criticism with it.
Right.
And and how one of them dispatches the custodes, like basically a little spoiler here, but a world eater in single combat with no armor manages to defeat a custodes in his full armor. So I was a bit. I don't quite know how that's happened, if I'm entirely honest. Yes, that's yeah. Those are my two takes. But
I'd love to see the stat line for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he might have been on the 3.0 stat line, whilst the custode was still 2.0. Yeah. So yeah, but a cool take on seeing parts of Terra and parts of the lore that aren't just bolt upon. So, and I always love that. I think they're the more interesting little nitbits that you get from these kind of books. So big fan.
Yeah, definitely. Nice one, mate. Cool. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you have I think we aim to do this in another 2 weeks. So we will make sure to keep posting our works in progress, and I hope you keep sharing yours with us as well. Anything from you, mate?
Yeah, no, just to say again, thanks all for your support. We will probably try and be a bit less in our time and more on getting content out to you guys. So little smaller form in how we deliver, but more consistent and more often. So little and often, rather big and large.
But yeah, let us know what you think. Okay, so I will leave you with this quote. So I want to hear your best guesses of who this is. I'll give you a clue. It's a space marine. And that's all you're getting so far. I may give another clue. But war is not the invention of humanity, nor the billion alien civilizations that came before. It has ever waited in the darkness of the ether, whispering and waiting to be delivered, its finest practitioner. I will let you know if you get it right.
But you will not let them know if they get it wrong.
No. Brilliant. Okay.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, mate. Right. Till next time.